Good day, everybody, and welcome to another Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland here. How's everybody doing this Monday morning, June 22nd? Happy anniversary to my wife, Laura. Today is our 8th anniversary, so shout out to Laura. Hope you're having a great day. We are here talking Cleveland sports, Cleveland Brownies in particular. We are a Cleveland Browns podcast network. We don't win many contests, but we're in this because we're fans like you, and we like to talk about the Cleveland Browns. Hope you listened to Steve Gill yesterday. He had his Dog Pound South show. Go back and listen to that on Apple or on Spotify. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, we are there. Type in those things and you'll find our show, and then follow us. Subscribe. Also, shout out to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Great coffee company up there in Mechanicsburg, Ohio, just to the northwest of Columbus here. And also a shout out to Sherry's. Let me see here. I got my bag here. Sherry's Licorice. There you go. Sherry's Licorice. If you're watching us live or listen to us later, Sherry's Licorice is located down in Goshen, Ohio, just to the east of Cincinnati. Great small company. They just have created a new website for their delicious licorice. So check them out. Go order some amazing licorice from them. I think they're just releasing a new flavor, watermelon. So if you like watermelon, there you go. All right. So it is a Monday morning. This is the silly season of Cleveland Browns part of the year. I mean, I have heard everything over the last couple of days. I mean, you look back here at the headlines. I was just checking headlines out again. Let's just start again with Brendan Storsby. I'll be brief. We're not going to be very long in all of this today, but I've come out and said multiple ways that Brendan. I don't want the Browns to have anything to do with this kid. So those of you out there that are promoting this and really supporting this and trying to give the Browns, all these reasons why they should consider it, no, like he doesn't. And somebody even mentioned it, and a shout out to those folks over at the Bearded Browns podcasters. I know you guys do a great job, and you win contests, but your take about comparing Brendan Storsby with someone like a Josh Allen, statistically, when he was at Wyoming, I just can't go down that path. I mean, we did not hear anything. We didn't know who Brendan Storsby was until now. you know, he played quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers. He went to go play. He played then for the Cincinnati Bearcats. They had a 7-5 record. Yes, he threw 30 some touchdowns to 6 or 7 interceptions. But did you hear anybody talking about him last year? No. He was supposed to go to Texas Tech. All sorts of issues since then because he got caught cheating and gambling and all of that. About $1 million worth of gambling. And so it really drives me batty when you continue to hear stupid people on the radio airwaves, like in Cleveland, like Anthony Lima, who continues to talk about how, hey, he was just putting $3 or $4 bets down here or there. Big whoop, big whoop. I mean, come on, like you just outrageous. The a number of people that are just like, it's no big deal. And the Browns really don't have a quarterback. They have a quarterback problem. So let's just bring him in. Yes, we do have a quarterback problem. The Browns have had a quarterback problem since 1999. you know, or we've had Bernie Kosar, and that's been about it, right? I mean, Tim Couch came in, did some valiant things, was injured, because we didn't have an offensive line back then because the team got rebooted and brought back up after we were stolen, or Baltimore stole our team. I'll get into that here in just a second, but as far as the quarterback stuff and Sorsby, I mean, just stay away from it. Just for God's sakes, Browns, stay away from it. Todd Monken has already come out and said it would be a slippery slope. And you just hope to God that the Browns are on the same page. Now, and then like even this morning with the quarterback situation, you hear silly people out there like Tony Rizzo, who I've listened to for years, and I have a lot of respect for the guy. But he says a lot. And this morning he's on 8:50 back from his vacation. I'm glad you're back. Enjoy listening to you sometimes, Tony. But your takes again, he likes to throw this out there. Oh, the Browns are taking phone calls on Shedeur Sanders. People are calling. Nothing intimate, he says, but things could be happening before July 28th and the Browns start training camp. I mean, come on. Like, this is everybody is just reaching for anything that they can talk about. Um, right now, the other big thing that came out, not big news, but just because it's the dead time of the year, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco ass wipe from the Bengals, coming out on his some podcast yesterday or the day before, talking about he has good information that it's going to be Deshaun Watson starting, and that he'll have 6 weeks or so to make his case to be the Browns quarterback going forward in the season, or Shador's going to take over. I mean, for God's sakes, we're 3 months out from the season starting, and so Chad Johnson's opening his damn mouth and suggesting that Deshaun's got the job. And then there's pictures of Jerry Jeudy hanging out with Chad Johnson. So people are speculating that Jerry Jeudy, which I don't like Jerry Jeudy to begin with. We can talk about that here in a minute. But Jerry Jeudy is just, I think they described him as a snake. People are, talking that way. I mean, he had a crappy, awful season last year, and a lot of it is because of his mental um upstairs. And he was the same way, and I've talked about this endlessly, and you can go talk to people from Denver. He was the same way in Denver. The Browns got him, and look, he had a decent year the first year he got here, thanks to Jameis Winston and some of these Flacco throwing him the ball. I might be getting that mixed up, but the fact is he had a decent year, 90 catches, which is phenomenal. But then last year he had 50 catches. Browns go out and draft two young kids. So we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in Jerry Jeudy, nor do I. If he is ratting out and talking about the quarterback's situation to some asswipe like Chad Johnson, so be it. But um, it's 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 pretty ridiculous. All right. The other thing, like other little storylines that are just bothering me that I caught wind of this weekend. I mean, Nick Padone, I think that's how you say your name, Nick. I mean, I know you're on the radio now and 92 or what, you're on 92.3, the fan, and you do all these other things, and you've risen to your fame and whatnot. But him rehashing the idea that the Browns have never been completely back. And I know I've had this conversation with even old colleagues like Lou Marconi here on the show, and Steve Gill and Rod, and the Browns had their team taken away from them in '99, and the Browns got restarted then by the NFL rather quickly. And so Nick's take was like, hey, the Browns have never recovered from that. Like, we've all had that conversation. Yeah, the thing is it's 27 years. I think we need to stop using that as an excuse for what the hell is happening right now. You can't do that. Yeah, I agree that what happened with the Browns was, if you lived there, if lived during this time as we did growing up, I mean, it was god awful to lose your football team for 3 seasons and to see how it went down. And Art Modell, that jerk, um, you know, doing what he did. And then the Browns having to restart with all this not very much talent. It was difficult, but you cannot use all of that. My God, we've had so many situations, so many coaches, general managers, all these things, players that have come and gone over the last 27 seasons. Stay focused on the future. Stop going back to, like, I know we all tend to go back to 99, and I have the same issue sometimes, and it pisses me off because I hate those ratbirds. But it is what it is. So let's just not go back and do that again. What the Browns have got to do is focus on winning. And obviously that's the key, right? We all want to see our team be successful. I think Todd Monken is doing some really good things. I'm still a little bit, not 100% sure how that'll all turn out. He talks a good game. He's 61 years old. He's been around the block. He seems to know football. But let's see how it all transitions on to the actual football field when the real games start in September, which is still a long, long way off. I still believe Shador Sanders should be the number one guy starting in week one. I think the whole fiasco with Deshaun Watson, that ship has sailed. and most fans, 90% of us agree with that. So it's a little discomforting right now with how everything is, being played out. I don't think it helps when you have local media people trying to throw out some of these ridiculous takes on information. I mean, the fact is, come on, people. I mean, there's probably constantly throughout the whole entire NFL people calling, people having conversations. So when Tony Rizzo brings up the fact, well, people are calling, I mean, that's not ridiculous. Now, um, when we're talking about this quarterback situation too, I know some of you out there have been even considering somebody like Shador Sanders not having overtaken Deshaun Watson yet is concerning. I know that's been written about by some of my colleagues at Dog Pound Daily. And, why hasn't that been announced? Why is there still a quarterback competition? I mean, the way I'm looking at it too right now is, I mean, Deshaun Watson is the veteran, right? He's been around the league a long, long, long time. Shador Sanders is coming into really his first training camp where he was given first team reps. Everyone seems to kind of forget that. So I don't understand why some of you are discouraged that he has not overtaken Deshaun Watson yet because he hasn't had that opportunity. I mean, he did play 7 games, did quite well at the end of last season, but I would not suspect him to overtake someone like Deshaun Watson just because of the name and the nature of the business and the fact that the Browns owe him $230 million is part of the problem here. So I suspect Shador Sanders will obviously be playing a lot. I want him to start in week 1, and I believe he should be starting in week 1. But we'll see where the Browns go with all of that. So where are we at so far? Jerry Judy's an idiot. Chad Johnson's an idiot. Sorsby shouldn't be part of this team. There was an article written by Mary Kay, who seems to bring out such wonderful information that we Browns fans don't have any idea about, right? She suggested that Myles Garrett was not a great team leader. Oh, really? After 9 seasons, we didn't all Browns fans know that about Myles? I mean, for God's sakes, the guy was not a team leader, especially vocally, or wasn't having team dinners and stuff with his buddies. So that was thrown out there, and some of the I read some articles in Los Angeles now where Miles is playing with the Rams, and one of the articles was talking about this topic and that the Rams don't care. The fans don't need Miles to be a leader. They just need him to get sacks. And considering he had a record 23 sacks a year ago, they're perfectly fine with Miles not taking the lead. Actually, and Browns fans were pretty much the same way, to be honest, right? I mean, we didn't care. We wanted to see him get the sack record. But the point being, I mean, the Browns did not have much success over those 9 seasons that Miles played with his team. Miles did not help bring wins to this organization. So now he's gone. All right, let's pause here for a quick commercial break. This is Coffee Jolt. We'll be right back. And we're back here on Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. It's a Monday, June 22nd. Again, happy anniversary to my wife, Laura. Um, All right, we are looking this week. Again, we'll continue to uh, get more information, made up information, probably more talk about Sorsby. I think today is the day that he has to declare officially. Now, we've talked about this before with the NFL supplemental draft. It's not a guarantee that they have this draft because there have to be like more than just probably like Sorsby who would apply. So I don't know how many other players are considering this supplemental draft, but it is something to keep an eye on as we go through the rest of the day. The we had I was recently we were talking just earlier about Deshaun, and there was an article written by a person in Fanside group. Go check those articles on Fansided. I write for Dog Pound Daily, which is part of Fansided, and the conversation was around Deshaun Watson having pressure on him for the Browns, and there's a lot of pressure on him. And I countered that with this idea that Deshaun really, yeah, he does have pressure, but I think it's more pressure for him to extend his career. Honestly, I don't think he has a career left in the NFL, and that's why this whole conversation right now with Deshaun and Shador is just kind of silly to me. Obviously, I think Shador has all the upside going forward, and I just can't fathom seeing Deshaun Watson play much. I mean, ever again. I know people are talking about it, but um, like he's gonna do it. But for God's sakes, the guy left his career. He was last time he played for the Browns. The Browns were 1-6. He had that horrible injury and missed a majority of I mean, all of last season. So I think there's more pressure, like I've already mentioned before, like on Shador Sanders. I think there's more pressure on someone like Jared Verse, the new kid that they got in the trade for Miles Garrett. Someone was talking about I think my colleague at Dog Pound Daily, Ernesto, go read his stuff. He writes a lot of good stuff for Dog Pound Daily. He was suggesting that this last training camp at mini camp, that some of the players that were winners and losers. One winner he suggested was Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver from Texas that the Browns picked up in late August last year, and he had a decent year last year. But he thinks that he could potentially be a starter this year. I don't know about that. I think Isaiah Bond's a pretty good player, but I'd like to see more. Obviously, only having played in one season, we can say a lot about players, especially like again, another example of that is Mason Graham. He didn't think that Mason Graham had a particularly good mini camp. I think he based it more or less on the fact that Mason Graham's was in a walking boot and maybe he had injured himself, and that he was also not going to be playing next to Mason Graham, so or next to Miles Garrett. So would he be exposed more this year? I think Mason Graham's a great player. I'm anxious to see what he does this year. He's only going in the year two, so I don't know if I would consider him losing in the mini camp. Obviously, any kind of injury, even someone like Harold Fannin who's been injured or tight end, it's a little bit concerning. But we still have a long ways off until the actual season starts. And I think if the season were to be played now, that these players that we're talking about that have had some of these injuries, they'd be ready to go. I think they're just precautionary, and that's where we're at with that. Um, yeah, so that's all I got this morning. I hope you all have a very good rest of your Monday. Stay dry. I know it's raining different places around the country today. We had a good bout of our rain yesterday, so we'll be bringing you more shows later this week. I've got my Johnny Cleveland podcast. We've got I'm going to do a Stirring the Pot show coming up later this week. And Rod Bloom's got his Brown splits with his brother Jeff. And Sam the Man will have his Browns breakdowns coming up as well. Again, everybody have a very good rest of your afternoon. Take care. Go Browns. Talk to you soon.